Hi, everyone. My name's Sophia,
My name is Hank.
and welcome to You Know Me So Well. So, today we're doing a date guide for guys. I'll just say it straight up. This is what we're doing today. This is kind of a me episode. It's similar to the one that we did before we did our rebrand, How to Get a Girl, which, fun fact, is still our most popular episode to this day. I don't know. The guys just love the info on how to get a girl. I hope it's working out for some of y'all. But anyways, this is primarily for the guys who want to take that special someone on a first date. It's someone that you've maybe been talking to, you're genuinely interested in, you kind of want to make it work out for the future. Maybe you want this girl to be your girlfriend, or you're just feeling things out in that sense, but you're like genuinely interested in her and you want to try and impress her on the first date. This is how to do it. Now, obviously, I'm not going to guarantee that things are going to work out in the end because I'm sorry, I can't. But this is a pretty foolproof way to do a good job on a date and honestly have a better success rate in getting things to work out than you probably generally would. Just saying. With that being said, I personally haven't been taken out on a first date in a good while, but luckily I created this guide back when I had recently been taken out on a first date. So yeah, it should be pretty relevant, okay? Because I did take a lot of notes based off of the experience. So with that being said, I think we should get into it. Basically, the way that I did it was I divided it into 3 sections: the before date section, the during the date section, and after the date section. So we're going to cover it all. And yeah, that's basically what you're going to get in this episode. Unfortunately, I don't have really, maybe I can come up with it like towards the end, or maybe Hank can ask some questions pertaining to this, but this is really like primarily for the first date. It's not really for any dates that come afterwards, but I feel like a lot of this is just common etiquette that should continue on as you continue going on dates with that person, and they're just good practices. So yeah, I hope you can take something away from this, and best of luck with whoever you're trying to win over, if there's someone there. All right, let's get started. So starting with the before the date section, I think the biggest thing is plan the date. And when I mean plan the date, like you plan the date, okay? It's not about like asking the girl what she wants to do, what she wants to eat. Like, make it a point to go through everything that occurs on a date and make sure you have it planned out. So starting with the before the date section, the most important thing for you to do is to plan the date. And when I mean plan the date, I don't mean like ask the girl what she wants to do or ask her what she wants to eat or where she wants to go or whatever it is. I mean, you are fully in charge of planning the date, and you are not asking her to help you out with the whole plan. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean that you would involve her at all, because there's a likelihood that she has her own preferences, and, you don't want to like plan a date and then it's something she totally hates doing, or it's a cuisine that she totally hates, or whatever it is. So to start off with, you can offer some suggestions for cuisine or type of date. If you met her on a dating app and there's some hints in her dating app as to what she likes, or if you've been talking to her and she mentions a favorite food or a favorite thing to do, use that as a guide. So be attentive. Sometimes girls will put their favorite food, especially if it's like sushi, like you'll see that in their dating app. Perfect. Take her to sushi, or offer to take her to sushi. Otherwise, go with a fan favorite and ask if she's interested. Another thing that you can do is give her options. So instead of just saying, oh, like, I was thinking we do sushi. How do you feel about that? You could say, we can either do sushi at this place, or we can do like Italian at this place, and then let her choose which one she wants to do. And then you go based off of that. And you plan each date separately so that you have options on either line. Like I said, plan out the date completely, make a reservation at the place, or if you're going to go to something that has tickets, get the tickets. Have everything prepared so that when the day comes, you don't have to worry about it. Girls love when a guy takes care of everything and they can just show up. And also know that girls are going to be doing a lot of behind the scenes work that you don't see, so they have enough to stress out on when it comes to a date. Take care of the rest. And also, shameless plug, but You should go check out my YouTube video where I was getting ready for a date. Okay. So then as you're planning things, of course, you're going to work out a date that works for the both of you. Of course, you can go ahead, suggest some dates, say, does this day work? If it doesn't, suggest another date. Once you find a day that works for you, suggest a time. Obviously, make it appropriate to whatever you're doing. You can say something like, how about Friday at 6 p.m.? I'll pick you up. Adjust the time and date if needed. Of course, if it's like a dinner date, 7, I would say like 7 is a good time to go with. If it's something else, obviously, like if it's like a movie, for example, like there's timings for the movie, so you go based off of the timings. But if not, just appropriate timing, you know? And then if you're going to do a dinner date, I would recommend taking her to a place that isn't super loud or busy. It should have a nice ambiance to it, but make sure that you can talk comfortably with each other. I feel like there's nothing worse than, for either person, going on a first date and you're like screaming at each other from across the table. So I would recommend, like, if you are going to choose a place to eat, choose a place that you've been to before and you've had experiences with, so you really know what you're going to like get yourself into. Because I feel like if you choose somewhere that you've never been to before, you always risk the issue with something going wrong and then you just didn't know. So yeah. And then in the case, now obviously this is like an exception because I've never really heard of a woman doing this, but I'm sure there's at least one woman out there who may want to do this. If she explicitly tells you that she wants to plan the date or be involved with the planning, let her get involved. But this is only if she brings it up, okay? Like if she doesn't bring it up, it's on you, okay? You're the one who's going to do that. So yeah, I feel like this is just a really great setup for the day. A woman will generally immediately be impressed, unless she's experienced it a lot. But in this day and age, I feel like it's so hard to find that. She will already be quite impressed by the fact that you completely planned it out and you took initiative and the whole thing. It also demonstrates interest in her, so she'll really think that you're like genuinely interested in going on this date with her. Whereas, I guess if like she feels like you're making her plan it, then it's like, does he like me? Like, does he just want to take me out so we can do something else? Like, what's the situation here? So now that you have the starter pack as to how to start the whole thing, now we're going to talk about what you should do on the actual date. So first things first, offer to pick her up. If she accepts, pick her up. And if she doesn't, then I would suggest offering to cover her Uber. And obviously if she tells you like, oh, actually I'll drive, then you let her do that. But in the case that she doesn't, offer to cover her Uber. If you do pick her up, stand outside of the car door, greet her and open the door. And throughout the day, always open the door for her when she's approaching the car. Same goes with any other door that may be present during the date. You're going to probably encounter a door or two. Make sure you're like opening it up like a gentleman and not just letting her do that herself. I feel like this is huge. I feel like the whole chivalry is dead movement has just kind of pushed this away, but you really do get bonus points for everything that you do that's like chivalrous, and opening the car door is one of them. So please do it, and please keep it up throughout. Like, don't just do it once and then move away and don't do it again. Like, make sure you keep doing it. Also, like, I feel like I hate nothing more than like when you're going on a first date and you let the guy pick you up and you like, he's just like, oh, like, here's my car, like, come find me. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, this is totally awkward now. And then you find them and like you open the car door and you're just like, hi. It's a weird situation. Like, it's just a weird situation, I'll be honest. Okay. Another thing to do, bring flowers or another small gift that's fitting. Obviously, this is not necessary, but it is a huge bonus and it will generally set you apart from other guys. And if that's what you're trying to do in this case, then like, do it. Flowers are not that expensive. You can get them from Trader Joe's for like $5, and it literally will make the world's difference. I still haven't been on a date where someone brings flowers, but I know that if that person did, like, I would totally continue giving them a chance because that is just so huge. All right. Then once you get to the place, if this is a dinner date, allow her to order first if you're at a restaurant, and most definitely do not try to dictate what she has. That's like an absolute no, and I feel like you should know that, but I know that there are men out there who try to do that. You can always recommend something if you've been to the place, but let her make her own decision and don't comment on it. The best thing to do, I think, is be like, oh yeah, like I've actually been to this place a couple of times. And then if she asks for a recommendation, go ahead and recommend something. Otherwise, it just feels like you're kind of shoving it down her throat. I mean, you can kind of mention it casually, but I feel like you want to err on the side of caution. So let her make her own decision. She's a capable human being, and let her enjoy the dinner. Okay, then what to talk about? Don't talk about yourself the whole time. No brainer. No woman wants to go on a date to just hear a man talk about themselves for hours, especially if they're trying to like brag about themselves or talk about weird kind of stuff. Obviously, let her get to know you, but really make it your goal to get to know her as best as possible in the time that you spend with her. With that being said, ask questions. Really make it your primary focus to ask her questions. As you're getting to know her better, ask her more specific questions on things she shares with you. And I just feel like a natural conversation will result in her getting to know you as you get to know her. So if you ask her questions about herself, she'll likely follow that up with asking you the same question or similar question. So you'll have like a situation where you're both getting to know each other, and it's not like there's only one person talking. And if that's the case, like, again, just let her, you know? That probably just tells you you may not want to like go out with her again. But again, you're just feeling things out on this first date, feeling out the vibes. Like, don't try and make it too serious yet. All right. Then the date comes to an end. If this is a dinner date, pay for the date. I feel like this is so simple, but if you asked her on a date, pay for the date, okay? And don't just offer, like insist on paying. You know, don't just be like, "Oh no, like I can pay." Like be like, "No, I'm so sorry, I'm going to pay." Or best thing possible you can do is somehow manage to pay without her even really realizing, because then it's like the stress is taken away. Like she doesn't feel like she has to suggest that she needs to pay too, or like enter this argument where you guys go back and forth as to who's going to pay or whether you're going to split. With that being said, if she insists on splitting the bill, just know she's not interested, okay? And that's sort of her like get out of jail free card, or get out of jail free card, right? That's what it's called? Yeah. So I feel like there tends to be this phenomenon where women feel like if a man paid for the date and they weren't really interested. Yes, Henry?
How do you tell the difference between like a woman offering to pay because she's not interested and just like the classic, oh no, I can pay for myself, and just like off, just like
No, it's if she insists on paying. Like if she like offers, you know, okay, like she's just trying to be nice about it, but you eventually pay, that's fine. But if she says, "No, I'm sorry, like I'll pay for my stuff," she's out, okay? She's out. It's over. Don't expect anything from her. But yeah, there's definitely this phenomenon with women where I think they think if like a man pays for them, they're kind of like expected to do something. And so this is the easiest way out of that, and like the easiest like get out of jail free card. Okay. Then if the date is coming to an end, obviously if you picked her up, drop her off, don't leave her stranded. Like even if it's a bad date, like don't leave her stranded, okay? That's just mean. And if she allowed you to cover her Uber back, classic. And even if like maybe she didn't like offer again. And then when it comes to the end of the day, like don't expect anything from her, especially if it's a first date, not even a kiss, but you can mention it. Like it's not necessarily off the table. I feel like you really have to like feel out the vibes and see how the date went. If it went well and she seems interested, you can suggest it. If you get the sense that things were a little off, I would recommend you don't. But also another thing to consider is like, if you're planning to take this girl on another date, like you will have other opportunities to kiss her. Like there's no need to do all that stuff on the first date. So like you, at the end of the day, you have to decide whether you want to bring it up or not, but like really think about it. Okay. So yeah, if you do want to go in for a kiss, I think the best way to do it is ask her, "May I kiss you?" Or just say, "I'd really like to kiss you like right now," or something along those lines, and then see how she reacts. If she says, "Yeah, me too," or like, "Sure, go ahead, you can do it." If not, no is no, and don't expect anything else. But yeah, like I said, if you're going to go on like another date with this woman, there's a good chance that you have that opportunity to do it later on. So err on the side of caution. And I also know that there are like some people who don't necessarily care to do anything on the first date. So like keep that in mind. And then another thing is follow her lead. So after the like main portion of the date is done, if she invites you back to her place or suggests something else to do, allow her to lead how that experience goes. And if she wants to end the date at some point, respect her wishes. That simple. All right. So let's say you have a successful date or not. Let's talk about what happens after the date. So the first thing you should do is text her after the date and thank her for going on it with you. Plus you can like share how you felt or crack a little inside joke. I would do this like if you're dropping her off, I would do it the moment you get home. If, you know, she went home in an Uber or whatever, like you can do it right after the date. Like I would just say like don't let too much time elapse after or before you send that message, like after the date before you send the message. I would say within like 30 minutes to an hour, send it. The sooner the better, just so that she knows that like you're thinking about it, and especially if you had a good time, like you want to express that. And then if you want to go on a second date, mention it pretty soon after and start making plans. Again, don't do like the whole waiting game. If you want to go on a second date and you're interested in her, like make it clear that that's the case. That will give you like bonus points. You can even mention it while you're still on the date, you know, maybe towards the end. If you're dropping her off, you can say, I had a really great time. I would love to take you on another date. And then if you do say something like on the date itself, follow it up later on, like over text, just in case like maybe she wasn't feeling it, but she didn't want to say it to your face. Like just bring it up and then you can start making plans if she is interested. And then if you're no longer interested, don't ghost the girl. We actually have a ghosting episode, which I would definitely recommend you listen to if you're like finding yourself in a situation where you want to ghost someone. But just out of maturity, like if you ever do consider ghosting someone, don't. Just send them a nice little message, share how you feel, and explain why you're not interested. It's not that heavy, like it's not that serious, but I think you just owe her an explanation for what's going on so she doesn't like leave the date and wonder why she hasn't heard from you anymore. And then finally, if she expresses her disinterest after, respect her wishes and accept them politely. If she says she's not interested in you, you know, take it as she said it. You can always suggest being friends, but don't try and push anything romantic or sexual on her afterwards. I feel like if you feel like you want to kind of keep her around in some capacity, and also if you think maybe one day like she could be the girl for you, like you could maybe make it work, which by the way, if that is the case, you can listen to our How to Get a Girl episode, because that literally follows that track of how do you make a girl your girlfriend who maybe isn't interested in you starting off. But anyways, if you want to keep her around, you can suggest being friends. If she says she's not interested, like that's it, you know, so sorry, but get the memo. If she's interested, keep it as a friendship, keep it light. Don't try and push anything on her, and just let it take its natural course. And listen to our How to Get a Girl episode, because we can help you with how to get it on its natural course with kind of manipulating it, but not manipulating it in a weird way or a bad way. And yeah, that is basically my guide. I mean, it's pretty short and simple, but I feel like these are really great ways to kind of make yourself stand out from other guys, to do something special for a girl, and to, you know, potentially be successful in getting her to date you, or I don't know, whatever it is. I mean, I feel like in this situation, it's like you genuinely want to date that girl. And yeah, hope that helps you guys out.
Was very informative, actually.
Great. Now Hank can go find some girlies to take on dates and do it properly. And maybe we can like create a phenomenon so that I can finally be taken on a date where things go all right. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of think out loud here now in terms of like following dates, like second, third, fourth dates. Definitely keep up the planning. You can get her a little bit more involved in the whole planning process, just so that like maybe you're not doing like at some point maybe it starts to feel like you're just doing stuff that you'd rather do than she would. So you can always ask like, what are some things you'd be interested in doing, like, or whatever. I can't really think of a good way to phrase it, but you can kind of figure that out as you keep talking and then do stuff like that. Again, like I think as time goes by, she may start to feel more comfortable with being picked up. So like it may transition into, you know, instead of like getting her an Uber, you go pick her up. In that case, I would follow sort of the guide of how to act when you pick her up, and just do that like, I guess as you get more comfortable, like I feel like guys tend to start putting in less effort. And it's not like I think a girl's going to expect that you keep putting in that effort per se, but I feel like it's a good idea to do so just because it shows consistency. And I feel like that's so important if you are, you know, trying to pursue something with a woman. Like, women like consistent men, and specifically consistent in a good way. And this is consistent in a good way. You don't have to get her like flowers or small gifts every date that you take her on afterwards, but I feel like every so often it's good to kind of show up with something like that, especially if you did it the first time, just to create kind of a standard of how that works. But also, like, if you don't want to create that standard, then don't. I feel like flowers tend to be considered more of a relationship thing, where it's like once you're in a relationship you get your girlfriend flowers, but I feel like it's good to start that standard before the relationship starts. Just a thought. Out of, I think, all the things that I mentioned, this is probably the thing that guys do the least. The things that I've like mentioned here, a lot of them I actually have generally experienced while going on a first date with different guys. So it's not just like one guy did all of this right. It's like picked it up from a couple of different ones. But that's the one thing that no one's done. But the one thing that I think if someone did, like, would really blow me away. And that feels like I have low standards, but the men out there. Anyways, and yeah, I feel like conversation for the following dates will be a lot more natural. You know, you'll be able to bring up things that were mentioned during the first date or the following dates. You know, just keep it casual, keep the conversation as it's going, whatever it is. Like, if there's a sense of humor that comes out in the both of you, that going. I don't know if you guys are both like really sarcastic, like you keep being sarcastic. I think the first date is sort of to make discoveries on what you are like around them and what they are like around you, and then you keep that going on the following dates. Then with pay for the date, this is sort of an each to each their own situation. Obviously, there are women out there who will be willing to start splitting or to pay for one day here, one date there. But I feel like, at least for the first few dates, like, don't have an expectation that they're going to pitch in. If they offer, then you can kind of go off of their rhythm. But yeah, you know, it depends. But also another thing to consider is, I think if they offer and you just decide that you're going to keep paying for the dates, like after the first couple of them, there is going to be the standard that's created that you're just going to pay for all the dates, and it'll be harder. I mean, it's like, it's not unlikely that she wouldn't pitch in, but I just feel like in general, she would just kind of have this expectation that you're going to keep paying for the dates, and then it may create a little bit of saltiness later on. So know that you're setting the standard early as to how the whole thing's going to work, but also like consider the idea that the first few dates you're going to generally offer to pay, and see where it goes in terms of how she reacts to that. And yeah, you know, if you want to keep dating someone, schedule dates often. I would say, like, in the early phases, having a date every week, or, I mean, obviously it depends on your schedule and hers, but every week to every 2 weeks, it's important that you keep seeing each other. And obviously the dates don't all have to be super formal. Some of them can be more casual. Some of them can be more unique. Like, switch it up, try different things, you know, the whole thing. Like, if you go on a dinner date the first time, like, maybe the next day you decide to go on a picnic, or I don't know, like, try something else. Or like, you can do like the dinner, like a standard like dinner lunch date, something like that, the first couple of times, maybe like the first 2 or 3 times, and then start like switching it up, you know, if it keeps going.
And like dates usually happen at the nighttime, so dinner will usually be a part of it in some way, but like it shouldn't be like the main activity every time.
You can always plan in like a meal with whatever you end up doing, but I think it's important to also just like vary the date and not have the meal be the date, you know? And we talk a lot about, we give you some ideas on shared activities in our how to be in a relationship episode. So I would go listen to that, because we like kind of share some of the dates that we've done and just like some of the ideas that we like. So if you need some ideas. And also if you're well, I guess I should have said this at the beginning, but if you are like a boyfriend figuring out how to take your girl on dates, like go listen to our How to Be in a Relationship episode. Oh, and Boyfriend Boot Camp. That's Hank's. Yeah, that's basically sort of the guide. I hope that it helps at least one man out there get the girl of his dreams, or at least the girl he wants to date. Like I said, it's not necessarily foolproof, but I think it's a great way to sort of make an impact on a girl or a woman. And yeah, best of luck in your dating adventures. Hopefully things work out. But if you ever need any help, you can come back here because we like to share dating advice. So that's basically our podcast.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyways, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in our episode next week. Bye.